Hey everyone, and welcome to Business Boutique. I'm Christy Wright, and today we are talking all about social media, how to balance it in your personal life and how to build it in your business life. Later on the show, I will be interviewing my good friend, Jasmine Starr. Jasmine is a business strategist. She's a photographer, and she helps entrepreneurs grow their social media platform. We're going to talk about how to build your social media platform in your own business. I'll also be answering one of your questions, and I have a challenge for you that will help you find confidence in the choices that are right for you. But first, let's go ahead and talk about balancing social media. Hey everyone, and welcome to Business Boutique. I'm Christy Wright, and today we are talking all about social media, balancing social media and maximizing social media. Now, I've got to tell you guys, this is a hot topic. Whether you have a business or not, this is something that people are feeling the pressure of. It has taken off so quickly in our world in the last few years, and now we're trying to figure out how to manage it in our lives and how to use it in our businesses. Now, y'all, I don't know if this is meaningful to you, if this is significant to you, but if you pay attention to how much this is infiltrating our lives, our relationships, our conversations, our memories, our moments, our businesses, our marriages, our interaction with our kids, this is huge. That's why I want to spend this episode talking all about social media. Because let's be honest, social media is hard to balance. Most of us have a love-hate relationship with it, right? Like, we love to check it and love to know what's going on, and then we hate ourselves for wanting to check it all the time. We check it multiple times a day, but then we feel like, oh my gosh, I feel guilty, I'm not paying attention to my kids, or I feel guilty, I'm not keeping up with my real work and being productive, and so I've got to take a social media fast. I've got to get off social media entirely for a day or week or month or whatever it is. And we swing the pendulum to these extremes of being on all the time or feeling like we can't be on at all. And that's why I just want to talk about how to balance it. Because the truth is, social media in and of itself is not evil. It's not a bad thing. It's all in how we use it. But here's the thing. Social media has so many great benefits. For example, it allows you to stay connected with family and friends, especially people that live really far away. It gives you this place to share exciting updates with people that care about what's going on in your life, from new babies to new homes to exciting updates to your house or a new car or maybe just a birthday. It's a great place for you to connect with other people. It also gives you a place to share and collect this virtual album of photos of years of your life. I love it how Facebook will say, hey, remember this moment from 7 years ago? I'm like, I did not actually, Facebook. Thank you for reminding me of that special moment. It has a nostalgic feel in that way. It also allows you to connect with different groups of people that have similar passions. So you can find groups, you can find people that have an interest that you have, and you're immediately connected with people that you might otherwise never meet. And of course, in business, we don't want to miss this. It is free marketing. Free. Keyword free. While you have a million options for how to advertise your business that you have to pay for, social media is this organic, amazing way to reach your target customer completely for free 24/7. So instead of feeling this pressure to do it all on social media or do nothing on social media and feeling like we have to swing to one of these extremes, let's talk about how to balance it. We don't have to throw the baby out with the bathwater and have this idea that we can't do anything in order to get our life back and not let social media completely dominate every hour of our day. Instead, what we can do is we can take advantage of the awesome benefits of social media personally and in our business, but still have some boundaries around it. And so that's why I want to give you 5 ways to create a healthy balance. These are things that I personally practice, and these are things that you can take notes on, write down your own ideas and plans around, and use them in your life and your business. And don't think this list is comprehensive. This is something that can be a starting point for you where you continue to add to it and figure out, what does balance look like for you? What does it look like for you to use social media in a way that you're proud of, that you're excited about, that you don't feel guilty for, that leverages what you're trying to do socially and also in your business, but doesn't take over your entire world. So let's talk about 5 ways to create this healthy balance. All right, number one. Number one is I want you to know when not to use it. Now, there are times for social media and there are times to not look at social media. Let's go through some examples. For example, when you are having dinner with your family, when you're on a date with your spouse, when you are at lunch with a friend, when you are in a conversation with another human being that is in front of you, those are times when it is not a good time to look at social media and check it. Now, here's the thing about social media. As great as it can be, it is also insanely addictive. It's a fact. We check it over and over and over again out of habit, not because we really want to know what's going on Instagram while someone is telling us a story. It's just out of habit. So you've got to break the habit and have guardrails around certain times when you are with other people, when social media is not a priority to you. I'd be willing to bet that when you are on a date with your spouse, and you don't get to do this very often, and your spouse is telling you about something going on, y'all are catching up, you're having this moment, it's fun, it's bonding. In that moment, you are not consciously thinking, I have to check Instagram, I have to check Twitter to see what is going on in the world. You're not thinking it through in that way, but unconsciously, you pick up your phone and you check it. And what that does is that communicates to your spouse or your children or whoever you're with that they are not important, that they're not a priority, that whatever's happening on your phone is more important. And I know that's not your heart. I know that's not your intention. It's not my intention when I do it. And I do this very thing. So instead, you need to set some guardrails around times that are protected, times that you do not check your phone, you do not check social media. And I'll give you another tip. This is something that has helped me. During those times when you really want to focus on the people in front of you, you really want to give them your undivided attention, which is such a gift in our world today, to totally focus on them, make eye contact, listen, and be present with them. When you are in those moments, don't just not check your phone, physically put your phone out of sight. This can change everything, y'all. I'll tell you, for me, I noticed that if my phone was visible to me, it was on top of the dinner table, or it was on the counter, or it's somewhere where I can see it, even in my peripheral vision, unconsciously, I would reach for it and check it. But if it's out of sight, it truly is out of mind for me. I'm not gonna get up from the dinner table and go look for my phone in another room in order to check it while my husband's telling me a story. So during those times, protect them and even put your phone out of sight so that it can also be out of mind. I also want to give you 2 more tips around this one that have really helped me. Often, I tend to check my phone because I want to know what's going on, or I'm bored, I'm riding in the elevator or waiting in the line at the grocery store, and so you check it. That makes sense. However, there are other times when I check it when I don't really care what's going on. I just do it out of habit. But there's a question that I ask myself that keeps me in check. There's a question I ask myself that helps me focus on the moment that I'm in. And here's the question. Is it more important that I know what everyone else is doing, or is it more important that I experience what I am doing? And 9 times out of 10, especially when you're with other people, even if it's you and some friends waiting for your table at a restaurant, it's more important that you experience the moment you're in, that you don't escape to this other place on the internet and disappear and not be present with the people that you're with. So ask yourself that question. When you feel tempted to pick up your phone, check social media, ask yourself that question. Is it more important that I know what everyone on the internet is doing, or is it more important that I experience what I am doing? And y'all, this can make a huge difference. Now, I want to give you one variation of this question that can help you when you're tempted to take a picture and post what you're doing. You're in the moment, you're at a concert, you're watching your favorite band or musician, and you're tempted to pick up your phone and record it and put the whole thing on Insta Story. I have done that, okay? I get it. There's another question that can help you be where your feet are, to be present in the moment you're in and don't miss it or watch it through a tiny screen. Have you done that? Have you been to a concert where the entire audience is watching the concert through a screen on their phone because they want to record it and they want to post it, which then, of course, leads to checking the comments and the likes and responding to the comments and, oh, that guy's so funny, I got to just respond really quickly. Instantly, you are sucked into the black hole of social media and you're missing the concert or the dinner or the moment or the celebration or the party or the thing that you are physically supposed to be present for. So here is another question that will help keep you in check when that temptation comes up to capture and post everything all the time. Is it more important that the outside world knows what I'm doing, or is it more important that I experience it myself? I want to say that one more time. Is it more important that the entire outside world, the internet, knows what I'm doing right now, or is it more important that I actually experience it myself? I will guarantee you with both of these questions, almost every single time, the question answers itself. And that will help you put your phone down, keep it in your purse, keep it in your pocket, and be where your feet are. Be present in the moment that you're in. So the first step to creating a balance around social media is simply to know when not to use it. If you do this, I promise you it will give you such a peace about the times that you do get to use it. Now let's go ahead and talk about number 2. Number 2 is for you to pick your balance. Pick your balance. So you get to decide where these boundaries are. You get to decide the times that you're on and the times that you're off. The times that you're available and the times that you're unavailable. The times that you're responsive and the times you're unresponsive. And because the internet and social media is on and available 24/7, you have to figure out when those times are. If you're always responding and being available in real time, well, you're never off. You're never present. You're always distracted and available in that world. Instead, just figure out what's right for you. Now, I will give you 2 extremes. There is someone that I have seen on social media that I follow on Instagram and Facebook, and this person is a big brand, an influencer, all the things, running her business, doing an awesome job. And her business has grown exponentially because of social media. But here's the thing. She's on all day. 4 a.m. to midnight. She is on posting every meal, every update, every workout, every outfit, every trip, every ride in the car, every new makeup technique, every new thing she's doing, she is posting. Now, I'm not faulting her for that. That's great. That might be perfect for her and that has helped her build her business. But that's not me. I want there to be times that no one knows what I'm doing or knows where I am. I want there to be times that are protected and sacred. I want there to be cute things that my children do that I don't blast to the internet. I want there to be moments where I look pretty and I don't feel the need to show everyone. I want there to be moments when I look ugly and I don't feel the pressure to show everyone. I want there to be moments that are just mine. So I'm different. I'm not going to be like that influencer. But then there's the other extreme where I know people that run businesses or live their lives amazingly and don't even have a social media account. They don't check it. They don't think about it. It's not a part of their world in any way. Well, that's not me either. I love social media. I love being able to let people know that God loves them, or there's something that can help them, or they can do it, giving them tips and content and tricks and just investing in the lives of others through this amazing megaphone and platform that allows me to reach people in a way that I could never reach otherwise. So I don't think that's me either. I have to figure out where I fall. I have to figure out where on the scale I want to live my life. I don't want to be the person that's on and available 24/7, blasting out every single thing that I do. And I also don't want to be the person that's not present there at all. So pick your balance. Figure out what's right for you. What's right for you personally and what's right for you in your business. Figure out what those boundaries are, those guardrails are, and then it gives you something to live within. You know what's right for you, and that's something that you can be proud of. All right, so the first one is to know when not to use social media. The second one is to pick your balance. And the third one is to check yourself. This is simply accountability. It's so easy to set goals and guardrails and all of this good things. We have good intentions, and then we just end up down the slippery slope checking social media 24/7 like we always did. So hold yourself accountable. You know, there's even a feature on your phone in most cases that shows you what your screen time has been at the end of the week. That is an eye-opener, y'all. Like, you see that? Average screen time this week is 7 hours. 7 hours! Yo, we don't have that much time. And if you're working full-time and you have kids, which are full-time, can I get an amen? And you have other responsibilities, I would not ever say in my life that social media is enough of a priority or my phone is enough of a priority to spend 7 hours a week on it. So use that feature. Hold yourself accountable to living within the boundaries that you set. Then it helps you shake the guilt because you know you are living within your version of balance and the goals that you decided on. Number 4, don't mix business with personal. And here's what I mean by that. I normally talk about this with your bank accounts. You don't want to mix your business finances and your personal finances, but you don't want to mix it on social media either in the sense of why you go to it. Now, of course, you can post some personal stuff on your business page and some business stuff on your personal page. I always give you the 80-20 rule on your business page. It should be 80% business, but throw in 20% personal. Throw in some pictures of your kids and some fun things that you're doing so people know you're a human being behind the brand. But then on your personal page, you can post 80% personal, but then 20% business. Remind them, hey, I'm chasing this dream and doing this thing in case they might be interested in supporting you. But that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about in terms of mixing business and personal is don't go on for business. Oh, I've got to go post an update for my business. I've got to let them know about this sale. And then 2 hours later, you're still scrolling cat memes and stalking your ex-boyfriend's new girlfriend. Okay? That is where we get sucked into the black hole of social media. Oh, we just started by posting this update about a sale for our business. I'm working. 2 hours later, you're stalking. Okay, these are not the same thing. So don't mix business and personal. If you go online, if you go to social media to update something or schedule something for your business, do that and then get out before you get sucked into the black hole and waste a lot of time that you didn't plan on. And then lastly, in our list of ways to create balance in social media, number 5, take some breaks. It's always good to take some breaks, whether it's a 1-day break or a 1-week break or a 1-month break. Maybe you do 1 day a month. You figure out what that frequency looks like, but I will tell you, it is such a gift to get to experience what a social media free and technology free life feels like. We don't even know what that feels like because we have become so accustomed to this part of our lives, so addicted, so connected, so dependent on this aspect of our lives. Instead, figure out when you want to take some breaks. For me, it usually happens to fall on vacation. I'll go on vacation with my husband or my family, and I intentionally don't use my phone. I don't check social media. I don't post updates. I don't check updates. And it's amazing the gift that you give yourself of simply being present, really feeling the freedom to not be connected, really feeling the freedom from the burden to always stay up to date on what's going on 24/7. So don't just give other people a break, give yourself a break. Give yourself a break from social media where you get to experience what a social media free, technology free, connection free life feels like every once in a while. I will tell you, your social media accounts and your social media life personally and in business doesn't have to be this love-hate relationship anymore. Instead, take the pressure off yourself and find a healthy balance that's right for you. Hey everyone, and welcome to Business Boutique. I'm so excited because today we are sharing with you another exclusive behind-the-scenes video training lesson from our Business Boutique Academy. Many of you have asked me what to do if someone is stealing your stuff. It happens, unfortunately, in business and in life, and especially online. Well, today's lesson answers that exact question and shows you exactly what to do. I think you will find it really helpful regardless of your stage of business. Check this out. Hey guys, welcome back. The topic for our Academy lesson today is based on another question that we have heard from many of you. What do I do if someone is stealing my idea, or my product, or my concept, or someone is just flat out stealing my stuff? What do I do? Now, we would all like to believe that everyone in the world are good, honest people, but we know that's just not true. And since you will be in competition with and potentially doing business with some of these less than awesome people, you need to know how to handle it. Now, there are 4 things I want you to do, so let's walk through each of them. Step number 1. Protect yourself from the get-go. Let's talk about a few ways to do that. For example, read the fine print. Make sure that you know exactly what you're agreeing to before you sign any contract or any agreement or any online thing or even in person. Before you go to a trade show or before you work with a big name blogger or before you set up shop on a new platform, make sure you know exactly what you are signing up for. For example, I don't recommend Amazon Homemade. Now, that agreement states that they can take your idea and reproduce your idea and close your shop on their platform anytime for any reason. No, thank you. Now, I am not good at reading the fine print, by the way. Heck, let's be honest, I don't even read the large print. For example, I bought a cooler on Etsy for my son's 2 baby bottles one time. I was sending him to daycare and I needed to send bottles. Y'all, a baby bottle is this big. I needed to send 2. I got the cooler in the mail. You wanna know how large it was? This wide, this tall. I kid you not, like I need 3 people to help me carry the thing. Why? Well, I didn't read about the size, which is kind of a major thing. Don't be like me. Read the large print, read the medium print, and read the fine print. Know what you're signing up for before you sign away your hard work. Patents are another example. A patent is a way to legally protect a unique product. The process can be kind of lengthy and it can be kind of expensive, but if you truly have a unique idea, you're probably going to want to protect it and it's worth it to you. Now, if you determine that you need a patent, you first need to make sure that there are no existing patents on the product that you want to protect. You can search the United States Patent and Trademark Office at uspto.gov for more information on how to do that. And if your product is not a one-of-a-kind original, that's okay. There's still a need in the marketplace for what your business offers. It just means that you don't have to jump through the patent hoops or pay big bucks to protect it. Good news! You can put more energy into building your business rather than wading through tons of red tape. Now, another example, in addition to patents, are trademarks. A trademark is any word or name or symbol or design or some combination of these that distinguishes your business from another. For example, if you have a specific logo that you're building a brand around, you might want to look into registering a trademark. Now, what's interesting with trademarks is that you technically don't have to register them. That's because trademark status is based on use. So if you use your logo regularly for your business, it can be treated as an active trademark. However, according to the United States Patent and Trademark Office website, officially registering a trademark has a few advantages, such as they say it, notice to the public of your ownership, as well as legal presumption of ownership nationwide. Love that legal jargon, don't you? But here's the thing. Believe it or not, it's actually pretty simple to do so if you want to. You can also visit the same site as you do for patents, which is uspto.gov, and you can register your trademark there. Now, another example that can help you protect your stuff would be a copyright. A copyright just means that you created some text, like an article or book or lyrics or something else with words, and you claim all rights to it. If you create and publish something online or in print, you automatically have the copyright. So you don't have to file anything. Good news again. If you do file a copyright, however, it proves that you have legal rights to your text in the event that someone tries to use and claim the words that you wrote. And if you guys write anything online, you know that it's really common for people to do that. So it's not a bad idea to protect it. Now let's talk about another example. Contracts. Contracts can protect you in business deals if they are written correctly. If they aren't written correctly, they don't do much legally. And since you probably are not an attorney, you may have a hard time writing an official contract that would actually hold up in court. I know that I would. And if you are an attorney, seriously, post about it in the academy because you would have a ton of business instantly. Anyway, here's the thing. Contracts can be effective in a different way because even if you don't plan to follow through with them in court, and I hope you don't need to, they teach people how to do business with you. For example, if someone books me to speak at their event, they sign a contract. The contract our company wrote would legitimately hold up in court. But let's say that they didn't write it. I did. And it wouldn't hold up. Even if it's not an official contract that covers every possible scenario that could ever come up, it can still be effective in managing the relationship. Because if someone books me to speak at an event and I hold the date on my calendar, and they've paid their deposit, they're very unlikely to cancel because of the contract. Now, they could cancel, and then we could take them to court for the speaking fee, but would we really? Probably not. But because we have the contract, it significantly reduces the likelihood that they would cancel on me. What if I didn't have that speaking contract? What if someone could book me for their event and didn't have to sign anything? We just put a hold on the calendar, and I held that date, and I turned down other opportunities because I was booked for them. Then, let's say that Beth Moore is available for their event, and they decide they want her instead of me. Rude. Do you think they'd cancel on me to replace me with Beth Moore if I had no contract? Yes, because let's be honest, it's Beth Moore. Now, it's a much greater chance that they would cancel on me also because they could. With a contract, even if we would really never take a case to court, and even if it wasn't foolproof, that conference probably won't cancel on me because the contract was in place. So sorry you don't get Beth, you get me. You know what? It teaches people how to do business with you and to take the responsibility in the agreement seriously. It makes people behave, and that is a good thing. Now, if you need more help with this, be sure to check out our Academy video lessons where I interviewed our attorney and friend, J.K. Sims. We dive into all the legal things you need to know about your business, and we talk about contracts and how they can help you. So be sure to check that out if you haven't already. Okay, so now that we've talked about several ways for you to protect your stuff from being stolen from the get-go, let's talk about how to handle it if it happens. Which brings me to step number 2. Confront the person. You feel weird already. I know, I can feel it through the screen. You're shifting around in your seat, your palms are getting sweaty, you're thinking there is no way. But stick with me here. This person stole your stuff. One of two things happened. Either, number 1, they had no idea they were doing it and it was genuinely an accident or coincidence. Or, possibility number 2, they knew and had the nerve to do it anyway. In either case, you may take care of the whole stinking thing by just confronting them. So let's talk about how to do it. I want you to give them 3 things to fix this. And this is so good and so effective. Number 1, give them a call. Seriously, you're going to look up their information and straight up call them out of the blue. This is the hardest part for you, but I know you can do it. Give them a call and get on the phone. The second thing I want you to give them is I want you to give them the benefit of the doubt. When they pick up the phone, do not act on the insane rage you are feeling all the way to your bones and scream at them, you shady, dishonest, bleepity bleepity bleep, you stole my stuff and I'm taking you down. Don't do that. That will not work. I might know from experience. Give them the benefit of the doubt. Assume it was an accident. Assume it was a coincidence. Even if you know it wasn't, pretend that maybe it was. This one choice will disarm the other person, and if it was intentional, it helps save their dignity, which, let's be honest, they probably need. This helps you lead to more reconciliation, which both of you want. You might say something like, hey, I'm sure it was a complete coincidence, but this text or product or whatever is actually mine. I can show you where it's located on my site, and I just wanted to reach out to let you know since I'm sure it was an accident. So I want you to give them a call. I want you to give them the benefit of the doubt. And then finally, I want you to give them an out. You don't want to paint them into a corner, even if they totally deserve it. You want to make it easy on them to fix this and correct it, right? Make it easy on them. Give them an out. This is where you kindly suggest whatever solution you'd like. If you could take that product down or reword your copy or fill in the blank by the end of this week, that would be awesome. I actually love what you do, and I think we might be able to work together in some way. You could say something like that or something else that works for you. See, I said confront, and you thought I meant go crazy on them. No. Now, I do go crazy occasionally, but I don't ever recommend it, and I'm working on it myself, to be honest. Instead, give them 3 things. Give them a call. Give them the benefit of the doubt and give them an out. This is the first approach if someone has been stealing your stuff. If that doesn't work, then you're ready to move on to step number 3. Step number 3, if you want to, is to seek legal counsel. It's not a bad idea to have a professional legal counsel in your corner. Is it required? Absolutely not. Is it expensive? It can be. But if you have an existing relationship with a small business attorney or the means to hire a lawyer, go for it. If there's an attorney in your church or community or here in the academy, you can reach out to them for their advice. You don't have to jump ahead and hire them to represent you in court, but you can ask them if you have any grounds to pursue anything based on your unique situation. But don't let a lack of the right connections or funds be a roadblock for you. This one is totally optional. Even if you have the grounds to pursue a legal ramification for this person for what they've taken, you really need to think about if you want to. Which brings me to the final step. Step number 4, choose your strategy. This is your business and your life, and you get to decide how you're going to run it. If someone steals your stuff, you can hire an attorney and take them to court if you want to. You can spend hours and weeks and months building a case, preparing and practicing and stressing over the whole thing. You can spend thousands of dollars pursuing it. You can. And if you have something truly unique that's worth that fight, go for it. You can do that. Or you can just shake it off and out-business them. Serve your customers better. Leverage your unique position stronger. Be smarter, be more creative, be more clever in your marketing. You can bypass all the legal hoops and all the expensive fees and just decide to out-business that person. To be honest, that is exactly what I would do. Life is too short. Unless hunting down creeps and thieves is what you love to do, then it's probably not a good use of your time or efforts or energy or money to do that. Instead, do more of what you love to do and make money doing that thing. Zig Ziglar said, remember, the only taste of success some people have is when they take a bite out of you. Isn't that the truth? So let's recap your 4 steps to handle when someone steals your stuff. Number 1, protect yourself from the get-go. And I gave you several ways to do that. Number 2, confront the person. Number 3, seek legal counsel if you choose to. And step number 4, choose your strategy and wisely. Your action step for this lesson is to identify one way that you need to protect yourself and your stuff, and then do that. The more you protect yourself, the less likely all of this is to occur. Hey everyone, and welcome to Business Boutique. I'm Christy Wright, and I'm so excited because today I get to share another awesome conversation with you that I had with my good friend, Jasmine Starr. I have been a fan of Jasmine for years. Jasmine is an entrepreneur, she is a business strategist, and she specifically helps business leaders grow their social media platforms. She also is a photographer. She can do a lot. I know you will love her as much as I do. Check out my conversation with Jasmine. Jasmine, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited about this. We were just talking offline. It has been a dream of mine to have you speak at our Business Boutique conference for years. And so I'm so glad this dream is finally coming true. And I've been a fan forever, but for anyone watching or listening that doesn't know anything about what you do, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you live, your family, and also your business and what you're working on.
Thank you. Well, my name is Jasmine Starr. I'm a photographer and business strategist from Newport Beach, California, and I empower small business owners to believe in the impossible, to build a brand, and market it on social media.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so here's the thing. Talk to me about this transition between photography and business strategy. Like, did this happen at the same time? Did you kind of gradually make the transition? Because I've seen a lot of people that start out in their own craft and then start to teach people how they did what they did. Was that your story, or kind of take us back to the beginning?
Absolutely. So I'm a law school dropout. I'm a first-generation Latina, first-generation college graduate, and then the first in our family to pursue postgraduate. And I just felt like that was going to be my path. But I was wildly unhappy, and I just felt like I really wanted to do something creative in my life, but I just didn't have like the nerve to tell my parents, like, hey, I want to be a starving artist. Right. And so I took the safe and predictable path and went to law school. And unfortunately, during my first year of law school, my mom had a relapse of brain cancer, and it just forced me to just put like the brakes on, because I was just like, I'm unhappy in school. I'm 25 years old and she's 50 years old. And the doctors had said after 8 years of her battling cancer, her time had come, and I had a midlife crisis. She was 50, I was 25, and I just had to ask myself, if I have just 25 years left in my life, what do I want to do? And the answer was, I don't want to die a lawyer. And then I thought to myself, well, wait, I'm not guaranteed 25 years. I'm not even guaranteed 25 minutes.
Right.
So what am I going to do with my wild and crazy life? And I, that day, walked into the dean's office. I was there on full scholarship, on an academic scholarship. And I said, I need a break. I need a medical leave. I need to be with my mom. And UCLA graciously gave me 3 years to go back and reclaim my scholarship. And so I called my boyfriend at the time. And I said, hey, I just left law school. He's like, great, do you want to get dinner tonight? And I was like, no.
No, I
left. So like, I'm out, like, peace out, deuces, we're done. And he's just like, okay. But what I didn't know was that because I was on scholarship, the scholarship covered my campus housing. Since I was no longer a student, I no longer had a house.
No.
So what does any good brown girl do? You move home. That's what you do. You pack your bags. We packed this like beater of a truck. We drove back home. And I remember climbing the stairs to my mom's bedroom. And I crawled into bed with her and I put my nose to the back of her neck and she smelled like Pond's facial cream and eucalyptus. And I just thought to myself, I just made the best decision of my life. And then the next morning, I wake up in the same bed I slept throughout high school, and I see like an NSYNC poster on the wall, and I see like a cheerleading megaphone, and I was like, oh my gosh, I just made the biggest mistake of my life. But you know, the thing that I knew was that I didn't know my next step, but I knew that I wanted to get married. I had been dating my high school sweetheart. My mom had been just in love with him, and I knew we wanted to get married. And so we planned a wedding in 3 months, and the doctor said, she can't travel, she won't be able to walk, she won't be able to talk, she won't be able to get approved for her flights. And in spite of all those odds, the one thing that the doctors didn't know that her family knew was that my mom would fight to have her way. Like, she's just a fighter, a very quiet fighter, not a strong personality. And so in faith, we booked tickets to Hawaii, and we just said, our families are going out there. There's 22 of us. And we got married on a beach in Hawaii, and my mother walked me down the aisle.
Oh, wow.
She gave me away, and she was like this kind of like North Star.
Right.
And I thought to myself, okay, like, what is happening right now is, number one, the best day of my life. And number two, I'm seeing somebody document not just my wedding, but documenting a miracle, like, in the process. And I thought that that photographer had the best job to ever exist. And so I go back home. I have to go back to UCLA. I have to make a declaration if I'm going to go back, and I'm just crying. My poor brand new husband is like, what did I just get married to? And he asked me the kindest, most generous question anybody could ever ask. And he said, if you could do one thing for the rest of your life and be happy, what would it be? I said, I think I want to be a photographer. And he's like, okay, great, but you don't own a camera.
Minor detail.
I was like, I know, just small, just tiny. So that Christmas, crazy, amazing, beautiful person that he is he bought me a very simple camera. And he said, hey, you have 3 years to go back to law school. Why don't you just spend a year and like take it off and experiment and see what happens? And I said, okay, I have 1 year, and if it fails, I go back to school. And then in that first year, I just took every job, every gig, shot every moving, non-moving, inanimate thing, and somehow was able to book clients so that by 2007, my photography business just completely took off. And then by 2010, he had transitioned into the business with me, and our business was nominated as some of the best photography in the world, top 10 photographers in the world. So it was pretty an incredible ride.
That is insane. First of all, I didn't even know half of that story. That's insane. I want to go back to so many pieces. I have so many questions for you. Okay, so let's go back to the identity crisis of goodbye law school, your Jerry Maguire moment, you're grabbing the goldfish, you're out of there. Minor detail, you did leave your housing behind. Think about that.
Yes.
Talk to me about that identity crisis moment, because I think a lot of women that I work with, Jasmine, are either at that stage or they got into business because of that season of life. And maybe they didn't go through something with their mother like you did that gave you that perspective. But just like you said, you one night were like, this is the greatest decision I've ever made. And the next morning, this is the worst decision I've ever made. And that's kind of the emotional roller coaster of entrepreneurship, and being in the season where you realize, wow, I have a degree in this area, but I want to go in this area, or my business has been here, but I want to go here. And it's at that fork in the road that is so exciting and terrifying. So take us back there, and like, how did you navigate that to stick with it even through the ups and downs?
If you will allow me to. So sometimes, I mean, let me just be honest, Christy. I'm a creative, so I love me some dark indie movies that, you know, like very little lines,
emo.
very feelings.
Sure.
Yes, very emo. And a lot of those movies start at the end. And so I find myself talking and relating stories like let me tell you at the end. And look, let's work backwards. So I want to create a juxtaposition between who I was then making that decision and then who I am now having made that decision 2 or 3 times over, because it's looked very different for me at different stages of my life and my responsibilities. So at the time, I'll be very honest. My husband was with a startup company, and like startup is very generous to describe like what it feels to work out of somebody's garage. And he's like, putting on a tie, hopping in his like beat up Acura to like drive and be taking on meetings and selling something. And I had taken, when I left law school, I had taken a part-time job at my dad's church because I had to make money. And when people say it seems like a big risk, when I was so wildly unhappy in law school, and I wasn't making money, and I was living off scholarship money, like the quote unquote risk I had to take was choose this safe and predictable path and be miserable, or take every odd job to pursue something that you love on the off chance it could fill you with wild fulfillment. It didn't even seem like a choice there for me. But as different iterations of the business, I mean, one thing that you did mention was like, okay, how did that pivot from photographer to business strategist? When did that happen? And that took about 2.5 years, most of that happening behind the scenes. Why? I had so much more to risk. I had to be very careful of how the business appeared on the outside. I had to be very protective of like the brand. I had to be very protective of how people learned how to re-talk about me in new spheres and new stratas. So I can't say every time I make a decision, it's like all or nothing. The more responsibilities and the bigger my business gets and the bigger the team gets, I have to be much slower in making those decisions and making sure everybody's co-signing with that.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. I think there's such wisdom to the seasons. And I think we underestimate the seasons. Like, I'm going to set a New Year's resolution in January and I'm still going to stick to it in November. I'm like, my priorities might be different in November. Maybe I've got new goals. So I love the idea of the ebb and flow with your priorities depending on what's going on in that season of life. Okay, you said something else, and I want to ask about this because this so resonates with my story of speaking. Here's what you said, and I think so many people miss it, Jasmine, especially with social media, which we're going to get to in a second because I want to ask you all about that. You said, I took any job ever. I'm like, yes, tell me about that, because so many people think like, oh my gosh, he bought you a camera and then the next day you were nominated greatest photographer on the planet. like, let's talk about that journey, because there's so much that happens in the grind, in the trenches, in the events that I bet you've got stories for days. I've got speaking events from family reunions, high school reunions, Kentucky County Libraries on a Friday night party. Like, I've got some disastrous stories. And so many people think it's just all the glamour and big stages, but talk about how you did that, why you did that, how you pushed through, because some people are there right now with those small jobs and they're going, oh my gosh, I think I'm better than this, or I've got dreams bigger than this. Let's talk about that season and how important that work is in that season.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I'm a little bit embarrassed to admit this, but when I opened the camera for Christmas, I was just like, oh, I mean, my time has come. Like, I'm ready. And,
I was destined.
I mean, I was literally like, move over Annie Leibovitz, Ansel Adams, there's a new girl here. We're about to change the game. And I take out my camera. I opened the box on January 1st, 2006, because the year of 2005 was just a really hard year for me, all the way around, inside and out, top to bottom. And so I said, this is new beginnings for me. January 1st, 2006, this year is going to be different. So I take out my camera and I start shooting. And this is the first time, this isn't a transition from film to digital photography. Big time shift in the way that art is created in the photography medium. And so I put my digital card in and I'm looking at my computer. And my first thought was, these are awful. Like, my photos stink. I'm like, I'm terrible. And so then I do what any, internet searching person does. I go to University of Google and I'm like, how do you take pictures? I was like on YouTube, and I'm not like a book smarts kind of girl. And so my husband would read the photography manual and then break it down for me in a way that I would understand. Unknowingly to me, he's teaching himself photography, which was like, thank you, sweet baby Jesus, because he then became a big integral part of our business. But what I realized was that the quickest way for me to learn was to move all ego and expectations out of the way. Now that sounds like something I could look back on, like Brene Brown calls it gold-plated grit. Like when you could look at something from a distance and say, oh, that's what I did. But like legit, I had to make the cognizant decision to say, listen, people are gonna judge me. I know that I'm not so good at it, but the only way I get better is by putting myself again and again. And let me just tell you, if anybody has ever been told no, I'm gonna like up-level you and and tell you that my daddy has a church in East Los Angeles where like I was praying for nepotism to kind of like play out and it didn't. Because I would go to people in church and be like, can I take your pictures for free? And people were like, no, it's okay. And I was like, do you know who my dad is? Like, should I drop that card? No, I didn't. But like, you know, it was the people who begrudgingly agreed to sit for a portrait. It was the people who was just like, I mean, I knew that I wasn't ever going to get into family photography or children's photography, nothing against it. It just wasn't like my skill set. But I was like, you're a human being and you're breathing. I'm going to practice on you. Like, it was literally, I took my camera everywhere. I shot everything. And it was just in the amount of volume that you started getting little pieces of hope. And the more you did, the more that hope kind of manifested itself. And once you manifest it, you say, this body of work, and regardless of whether you're pursuing something creative, it could be you're in direct selling, it could be you're in dog walking, it could be in jewelry making, but the more you do of it, the better you get, and the smaller percentage of what is actually good, you could say, how can I replicate this? And then you deploy against that, and again, and again, and again, and you start with this big pool, and then you kind of get down to the little tiny nuggets of gold, and that was the thing that really catapulted my career. But it was simply by doing, without ego and without expectation.
I love that, and I think that's something that so many people miss because they feel like, oh, if I'm a beginner, or oh, if I'm not that good, my photos look awful, that it's a bad sign, I'm never gonna be good. But it's amazing how in those reps, like in my case, speaking or writing, in your case, you know, in this example, photography, with every rep, you learn something, you gain more confidence, and then like, even if you have a critic, which is gonna happen along the way, you're less susceptible to it taking your feet out from under you the more you get it. So it's like you learn from each one. You're going, okay, now I'm a little bit better. I'm going to handle this differently. So now there's less and less things that can faze me, that startle me, that get me all worked up because I've had 10 years of being on stages in front of crazy audiences and weird things that happen and, you know, funny stories for days just like you. And so I think there's something so magical that happens in those trenches that can't be fast forwarded. It can't be, you know, you just flip a switch, you microwave it. Like it really is, there's something happening in you and in the business in that journey. Okay, I want to get to social media because Jasmine, I've got so many questions for you, and I know that you're going to talk about this at our event in October, but we're talking about social media specifically, and I want to ask you about it because I feel like it's a sweet spot for you. I know you know photography, you know business, but social media is one of those things that I feel like for most people is this mystical, mythical, how do you make it work? I always feel like, speaking of criticism, I feel like I'm always failing, falling behind, I'm not doing something right. Like you have built an amazing platform and have 500,000 followers with some of your platforms. Talk to us about like, what do you think has been key as you've been building your business for you to also be building your presence online, specifically with social media as that's been growing? And then I want to kind of unpack like what's working now, but kind of what have you done that's helped you get here?
You know, the foundation is understanding the power of one. When you understand how powerful one follower is, it doesn't matter if you have 100 or 1,000 or 100,000 followers, is that every interaction is one unique stroke in being able to build a real relationship with people. And I will be the first to say that I am not cute or funny or wise or have a glamorous life or I'm extraordinarily good looking or extraordinarily fit. I'm kind of middle lane. I'm a middle of the road kind of girl. But what I am unparalleled with is the ability to connect with people on a one-to-one to make them feel known, seen, and heard. And the beauty about what I do is that it is 100% duplicatable and replicatable for anybody with a phone in their hand. Do you care about people? Do you want to empower people? Do you want to diminish fear? Do you want to give people hope? Whatever it is that you are selling, you're going to be solving a pressure point or empowering them with a pleasure point. Your opportunity on social media is to connect one-to-one and position your business as the only solution for the thing that they're looking for. What I do is what everybody can do, and it has become the foundation of my success.
Okay, I love this because I think that so many people get caught up in the numbers, and I love that you just take it down to one. You're like, oh no, it's not the 1,000,000 followers, like take care of the one, take care of the 100. And so often it's like, I think people have this idea, well, if I could just get to this many, if I could just get to this level, it's like, you've never made it. There's never a number where you go, I'm going to put my feet up and I'm done here. Like, if you don't take care of the 100, God's not going to give you 100,000 to not take care of either. So I just love this idea of faithfulness at every stage, starting with the one. I love that. Okay, let's talk about content, because you put out.
But can we go back a little? Can we go back just as a quick caveat? When we talk about that, it's not because I'm trying to like hand out some like silver lining, like everybody gets a participation award. It's legitimately like your account will go farther if you have 1,000 followers who are engaged with what you're posting. It will be seen by more people with 1,000 followers who are actively engaging than having 10,000 followers who are casually scroll on by. If your objective is to be popular on Instagram, then sure, get those numbers. But if your objective is to run a profitable business on Instagram, the numbers don't matter, the engagement does. Because when you're connecting one-to-one, when you personalize the experience, the conversion rate to that smaller group of people is so much higher than the 10,000. So number one, ask yourself, do I want to be popular or profitable? Number two, if I want to be profitable, I have to understand that slow growth is good growth. And number three, how much time am I spending per day to engage with the audience that I have, not the audience that I want?
Oh, I love that. Okay, that right there, like we could camp there forever, because I think so many people don't know that. They think it's the numbers. They think more is better, more reach. It's just, but I love that. You'd rather have 100 or 1,000 qualified, engaged people that love you. They're going, yes. Oh, you've got a book out. Oh, I can't wait to go check out your book.
Yes.
Versus a million people that are like, I don't know who you are. I'm a spam bot and I'm not interested. So I love that. Okay, let's talk about content, because we know content is the fuel that makes this go. You put out great content. I think a lot of business owners feel this pressure to be a content machine. And if they're the type of person where they don't have a ton of content ideas, or just the whole thing feels a little out of their comfort zone, how do you help them with that? Like, how do you help them curate content? How do you personally even come up with your content? And especially when the well's kind of running dry or you're not inspired, like what does that process behind the scenes look like for you?
Well, it always comes back to, again, the power of one. I have created like an ideal customer profile, and I always think of her first. What is she laying up at night thinking about? What is she Googling? What is she searching for on YouTube? What article in the most recent magazine that she's reading did she find intriguing? My objective is to create content that is culturally relevant. I want to tap into the social conversation and then turn that back into my business. So this is something I talk about all the time with business owners, depending on the niche or industry that they're in. So if there was I had a conversation with a wedding planner, and she's like, I only seem to attract other wedding planners to my account. So number one, mindset shift. Well, congratulations on being so good. Your industry peers just want to like follow and creep on you, make sure their engagement is still a win. And then number two, it'd be like, you have to focus on the hashtags that you're using. If you're using hashtag wedding industry, wedding planner, wedding coordinator, those are okay, but you're going to be attracting other people in your industry. The idea to use hashtags is what I call stumble upon content. You have searchable content, so I'm going to Instagram specifically looking for a wedding planner in Chicago. That's searchable. I'm searching for it. Stumble upon is when I'm in a hashtag and I didn't know that I was looking for a wedding coordinator, or I didn't know I was looking for this person as my wedding coordinator, or my cousin's getting married. So what you want to do is use hashtags that are culturally relevant so you can culture hack. So for instance, when J-Lo got engaged, her and A-Rod, well, I would do a post as a wedding planner this is the inspiration board I would use for J-Lo. And then you hashtag J-Lo, A-Rod, J-Lo wedding. And so what you have to do is you're tapping into other social conversations. Same thing that would happen with The Bachelor. Are you a matchmaker? Are you talking about fashion? Can you use Bachelor hashtags and create content for how you address Bachelor contestants? The idea is to use hashtags to insert your business in the social conversations, make your business relevant in another sector that probably you wouldn't have been noticed to begin with.
Okay, I love this. Now, here's one of the fears that I hear a lot, and it's amazing to me because to me, I'm one of those people, Jasmine, I have 9 million ideas a minute. Like I have more content ideas on my phone than I have time to put on social media. So I have no shortage of ideas, but here's a fear that I hear from a lot of business owners. They're like, well, what kind of content would I put out? Because my core business is XYZ. So like, let's say an example, we have someone that their core business is social media, so they don't want to teach social media on social media because they're scared of like, what do I give away for free? Like there's this fear of like, what do I protect?
Oh, Lord.
You hear
Girl.
this? I hear this all the time,
Girl.
so help us, talk about it.
Okay, so I'm going to say something that's wildly unpopular, and I'm okay with that. I've come to believe and know I only want to do two things in my business. I want to attract the right type of customer, and I want to repel the wrong type of customer. So I put a stake in the ground with every statement I make. For me, it is black and white. I give. People aren't buying education. You want to know why? Google exists. YouTube exists. What people have to understand is you can give away the cow and the milk and they're still gonna come to you as the farmer because what you provide is guidance, a saving of time, and trust. I've said this 1,000 times over. I literally share what I know, and people still have joined Social Curator, my monthly social media membership. Now, Christy, you know, I show up on social every day. I go live 3, 4, 5 times a week. I am sharing freebies. I'm putting content out again and again and again. And people will still join this social media monthly membership. Why? They get closer accessibility, they get private classes, and they get resources to the thing. I have come to believe that education has turned into a commodity, but your services and the way that you package your products are going to be so far different from what you provide. So if you're a business coach, if you're a social media coach, and you're like, I can't talk away social media, the only way you are going to build trust with your audience is to show and give away everything you know. Because when they say, I am getting this much for free without anything, I can't imagine what I'm going to get on the inside.
That's right. That's right.
And you know you're going to deliver. People know they're going to deliver.
And even understanding when you go into it, there will be some people that only consume the free content, and that's totally fine.
Yes.
They're not your customer.
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
But what you're doing is you're investing in the relationship with people that are customers and proving yourself. I use the example of Young Life. I don't know if you're familiar with Young Life, Jasmine, but the whole ministry of Young Life, high school ministry for kids, the whole strategy is you go to where high school kids are and earn the right to be heard. So you don't say, come to our church, come to our club, do our thing. Ooh, you go where they are. So you go hang out at Sonic, you go hang out at football games, freshman cheerleading practices, wherever they are is where you go as a Young Life leader, and you just love them. You love on them, and then when you build a relationship and you've earned the right to be heard, then they're like, hey, so you got a club, you got a camp? Oh, okay, cool, I'll come. But it's like, we so often want to sit back and be like, come to me, come look at me, come buy from me. It's like, go where they are, invest, earn the right to be heard. And with all those gives, you're earning the right to be heard. You're building the trust that then when someone's ready to buy, people buy from those they know, like, and trust. And they know, like, and trust you because you gave to them. So I love that. I love that. Okay, let's talk about mistakes because we all make them on social media. And what's really fun about social media is then they're just so public for just forever.
Amazing.
What are some either mistakes you've seen people make that you've helped them with, or what are some mistakes you've made? I mean, Lord knows, I have plenty myself. So what are some things you maybe learned the hard way and helped people with?
What I see is like a pattern consistently with business owners is that social media has become like this advent to where all of a sudden people look at social media and there's like two camps. You use it for like your personal family vacations and like, oh, the cat got in the Cheerios. And then like I use it to sell like I'm on QVC, right? It's like a constant sales pitch. In both of those situations, if you are using it for business, that's not the best approach. You can get a lot better. Because what happens is people think, well, I'm on Instagram for my business, so I should be talking about my business. My widget comes in green, my widget's on sale, a widget has holiday decorations. Buy one widget, get 2 second widgets free. That's not a service. Like nobody on a Friday night is like, you know what I want to do? I want to watch QVC right now.
Right.
I want to see more about the green widgets. That's what I want to do. And so all of a sudden, like you're coming in their feed, giving them something that they may or may not really want at the time. Our objective is to show the humanity of what our business is. And even if you don't have a personal brand, even if you have a company with like 50 people in it, you can show the people and the parts of the business that really say, in a sea of wildly saturated competition, I choose your business because of you, your philosophy, your approach. And the more that we can humanize our business, now remember, social media is called social media because we aim to be social. We don't aim to be sales. And I think that the misnomer is that people think I'm going to use social media to sell. And my big approach is to use social media to show. The sales will come. But you must show who you are. You must show what you sell. You must show what you deliver. And all of those pieces you're technically selling, but so far out from the actual hard pitch that people feel empowered. They feel smart. They feel like they become evangelists for your business. That is exactly what you want. Because Christy knows she has followers who just scroll on by. And then she has followers who leave comments. And then she has followers who DM and then vote on Instagram stories. And then she has followers that when a new book is about to drop, they want pre-sale. They want to put it on their stories. They want to get it packaged so that they could tell their followers early on. Those levels of followers all exist. My objective is the more that I show people and give things away, I move them quickly from being a passive viewer to being evangelist. And I think that is fully what we can do on social media if we're willing to play the long game.
Okay, I love this because like you just walked us through the whole funnel right there. I love everything about it and how social media if you use it intentionally, can do that for you. It really can have an effect on your business. And I think so many people, especially business owners, can think of this social media thing as like, oh, it's something I'm supposed to do, but I'm not sure how to do it. So it always falls to the bottom of the to-do list and that type of thing. Okay, tell us a little bit about when you were talking about that of like showing up and giving and just being present and investing in those relationships, thinking about your customer, thinking about what do they want? Like what's in it for me, and how you can give that to them, what's in it for them. So how do you do that and have a life? How do you do that and not feel like you always have to be online? How do you do that and have boundaries where you're present with your family, you're not feeling like you always have to check in or go live or whatever? Like, let's talk about like, what does that look like in your world, which social media is a massive part of? Like, what does that look like and how do we do that?
I think it's really important to know what your strengths are. As business owners, there are business owners that are all about like the actual product. They're actually about the systems. They're actually about implementation. There are some founders and business owners who are all about the marketing. And then there's some founders and entrepreneurs who are all about like the team and the culture. None of those kind of like three categories are wrong. It's just really important for us to identify what our strengths are. I've identified one of my strengths is definitely I'm a CEO who's 100% in marketing mode. So that's where I go. Now, if it was another type of like entrepreneur, CEO, who's just like, that's just not really the way that my mind thinks, I would, in that particular case, create a vision for what you want to execute and then bring somebody in to train them about the culture and have them deploy against the very thing that you want. So for me, because I'm always like in marketing mode, I realized I was spending a lot of time in Instagram DMs trying to connect with people, but then feeling like no matter how much I wrote, it just felt like it's still like a disservice because I couldn't actually give like a fully articulate answer.
Right.
So what I started realizing was that a lot of the questions kind of came into 5 categories. Now, it sounds easier than it was. I made plenty of mistakes. I made a ton of like freebies and opt-ins and lead magnets that just didn't go anywhere. Why? I was making a lead magnet that I thought was great, not based on the questions that I was being asked. So I started noticing that there was patterns between, Jasmine, I want to know about branding. Jasmine, I want to know about Instagram. Jasmine, I want to know about a social media schedule. And I was like, So then I created lead magnets for 5 of the top most common questions. So now I can streamline my communication, offer rich and robust information for free, but then also at the same time grow my newsletter list. So probably 8 out of 10 Instagram direct messages, I can point them back to a resource that I feel really proud of, that they're getting value, and then the list is growing. So I can quickly get through DMs really fast and like kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I also have created denoted times in my daily schedule. Answer Instagram DMs here, post on Facebook, post on Instagram, respond to comments, search the hashtags. Like I'm making sure that I'm doing this, but not like it's like a thing to do. I'm actually working it into my daily schedule. And that has become a game changer for me.
Okay, I love that because you're making it a priority in your business, in your day-to-day rhythms. But then I would imagine that because you have that time blocked, it then gives you permission other times to do something else. Like
100%.
Do yoga, be with your family, not think about it because you're like, oh, I did that. I had that time block and I did that. I love that. And then you can see what you did. You checked the box and you are keeping your priorities first. I love it.
Absolutely.
Jasmine, I could talk to you all day about this stuff. This is so fun. And we're going to have so much fun at Business Boutique. Tell us a little bit about maybe an overview or a teaser of what you're going to be speaking about at Business Boutique. I know it's going to be focused on social media, but give us a little bit about kind of what you're excited about.
Absolutely. Well, right now, the hottest and fastest growing social platform is Instagram. In fact, at the point of this recording, has just surpassed the amount of engagement interactions beyond Facebook. Wow. That happened, just yesterday. So it's kind of like a big shift. So a lot of what we're going to be talking about is Instagram, but I mean, I'm still a huge fan of Facebook. I'm spending a ton of time there. We're going to be talking about an overall strategy, but it's a strategy that I want to make very clear is that when you have a foundation for how you want to show up and market your business on social media, the foundational tenets are things that could be applied not just on Facebook, not just on Instagram, but whatever the next platform is. We're going to be talking about creating a foundation and really streamlining your approach, casting a vision, and not just using social media to sell, but social media to show, build relationships, and then grow over the long run.
I love it. I know so many people are listening and watching right now. They're going, where can I find you? Where's your website? On social media, all the places. Tell us how we can connect.
Well, I make it very easy. I'm Jasmine Star on all social platforms. You will find me on all social platforms. You'll also find me at jasminestar.com.
I love it. Jasmine, you are amazing. You are such a light in this space, and I think so many women that I work with are just overwhelmed with social media. They're overwhelmed with business in general, and that's why I'm just so excited to have you at our event. We're kindred spirits in this space, just championing women. So thanks for all that you do, and I'll see you really soon. We can't wait to have you.
Thank you. I can't wait. Thank you, Del.
everyone, and welcome to Business Boutique. I'm Christy Wright, and today I have a challenge for you. So one of the things that I think is really important in business and in life, and you've heard me say this before, but I want you to be yourself. In fact, I want you to intentionally make decisions in your life that make you like yourself. Now, I know this sounds crazy, y'all. I understand this. But all day, every day, we tend to make decisions based on what other people think, what other people want, what other people say, what other people expect. And that's not a bad thing. You need to take into consideration wise counsel when you're making decisions, and we need to grow in the areas we're weak, all that, yada, yada, yada. You get the idea. But here's the thing. At the end of the day, no one knows you better than you. No one can be you better than you, which means that we, the world, need you to be you. There is only one you. So, what are the things that make you like yourself? What are the things that make you proud of yourself? Figure out what those things are and then make decisions that are in line with those things. Now, I want to give you an example, and some of you, I'm going to ruffle some feathers, so go ahead, fasten your seatbelts. It's not the first time I've done it. Some of you think, well, if I do it this way, everyone has to do it this way. And I know that's our natural inclination. You think, well, this is right for me, so it must be right for everyone. Okay. So many of you know, at the time of this airing, I have a little baby girl on the way, and part of this growing our family thing means I need a bigger car. I have a really small SUV, and 3 car seats won't fit across the back, and so I've been doing some car shopping the last few months. In fact, I even did an Insta story about this, asking you all that follow me, what is your favorite SUV? I'm overwhelmed by the list in the market. There are a million choices to choose from. What's your favorite? Why do you love it? Well, the key word in that question was SUV, because I know that I want an SUV. I'm an SUV kind of girl. I love SUVs. However, in addition to all the responses I got from those of you telling me about your favorite SUV, I got equally as many responses from those of you trying so hard to convince me that I needed a minivan. You had a great list of reasons. You made a great case. I mean, I was actually pretty impressed with the list of features that you know off the top of your head. The sliding doors, the kids don't ding the cars next to you. They even have vacuums. I know. They're amazing. But here's the thing. They're not me. Minivans are not evil. They're not bad. I think minivans are great. I think they're right for some people. But here's what minivans are. At the core, minivans are practical. They're so practical. They're easy to get in and out of. You've got vacuums. You've got DVD players. They are affordable. They've got sliding doors. You've got remotes that make those doors open. It's amazing, the list of features that minivans have that SUVs don't. But you know what I know about myself? I'm not practical. I'm not a practical person. So selling me on your list of practical benefits will never work for me because I'm not practical. And I would never want to drive a vehicle that doesn't feel like me. Now, it's not just minivans. I also wouldn't want to drive a Volkswagen Bug or a giant truck. I want to drive something that feels like my personality, which is sporty. It's an SUV. Now, the car I ended up getting is a mom SUV because, let's be honest, that's also me. That's the stage of life I'm in with 3 kids coming. But you need to know what makes you you. If you're a practical person, and I have plenty of practical friends, then a minivan is perfect for you. But it's not just the car, y'all. It's anything in life. It's what your business should be. It's what your dreams should be. It's what your goals should be. If you hate running, you shouldn't make it to be a goal of yours to run. If you hate yoga, you shouldn't set out to go be a yoga master like your friends. If you hate business and you hate risk and responsibility and unpredictability, you shouldn't build a business. You should find a really stable career where you get a steady paycheck. It all comes down to knowing who you are, knowing what's right for you, and then making decisions that are in line with that. So I don't know what your friends are telling you should do or shouldn't do. I don't know where you're feeling torn of this is the right thing to do or everyone's telling me to do it this way. I just want to give you a challenge and encouragement that you have the right to be you. And if you are a minivan loving mom, you rock that minivan. And if you're not, it's okay. It doesn't mean you're evil, that you don't like minivans, or you're not a good mom because you got doors that open, gasp, instead of slide. It just means that you're making decisions in your life that are right for you. And at the end of the day, that's what we all need to be doing. And not only that, that's what we need to be encouraging in each other. I don't want you to drive an SUV if you don't like SUVs. I don't want you to run if you don't like to run. I don't want you to build a business if you don't like business. I want you to be you. I want you to do what is right for you. So your challenge today is to figure out what those things are. What are the things that make you you? And then have the confidence to live your life in a way that is in line with exactly those things. Hey everyone, and welcome to Business Boutique. I'm Christy Wright, and today we are sharing with you another Business Boutique Academy video training lesson. This lesson is really important because we are talking about how to be faithful in the small things. I know we all want an overnight success. I know we want it to happen fast and happen now, but you know what? Winning happens in the small things. Today's lesson will encourage you to be faithful right where you are. Check this out. Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm so excited about this video lesson because I'm going to be sharing a lesson with you that I learned really early in my speaking career, and it has stuck with me ever since. So several years ago, I was booked to speak to a really small staff of 25 hairstylists in a strip mall in Antioch, Tennessee. Now y'all, this was not a very impressive event, even for me that early in my career. There were mannequin heads that lined the edge of the tiny, stuffy classroom. The lighting was this flickering fluorescent light overhead, and I didn't even have any type of AV help. I just stood about 3 feet away from the stylists, who were seated in these small, rickety chairs around the classroom as I gave my talk. Now, I'll tell you guys, this is a great example of an event that it would be very easy to phone it in. It'd be easy to walk in there and be like, it's 25 people. I'm in a strip mall. I'm in Antioch, Tennessee. Who's gonna care? Who's gonna notice? Who's gonna remember? These 25 people, they probably don't even care. It'd be easy to stroll in there, come up to the front, be like, hey, how y'all doing? Let's just do a Q&A. This is super casual, and make all the excuses in the world to not bring it. But you know what? Going into that event reminded me of a quote that a friend used to say. He said, play to the size of your heart, not the size of the crowd. And here's where he got that quote from. There was a band that was doing a small little concert in someone's home. So it was just friends and family gathered around, but that band played as if they were playing for the Super Bowl halftime. Like they gave it their all, like they were performing for this huge crowd. And whenever my friend walked up and asked them afterwards why they did so well when they were totally in an environment where they could phone it in, they said, we don't play to the size of the crowd. We play to the size of our heart. And when you look at it from that lens, it makes you want to give it your all. Who do you want to be? What size heart do you have for your business? The great news is that when you have that perspective, you will bring it when things are awesome, and you'll bring it when things are small and unimpressive. And you know what? I did the same thing. I kept that in mind as I gave my life balance talk with the same passion and energy and conviction that I always do. But here's what's cool. In that instance, it actually paid off in a way that I could actually see. Well, later that month, that small event was featured in our Ramsey Personality newsletter. The newsletter features a different speaker and different event every single month, and then it highlights some upcoming events. Well, that email newsletter goes out to almost 70,000 people. So 70,000 people received an email newsletter talking about this event. It talked about what a great job I did. It talked about how happy the people were of Great Clips. It even had a quote from the owner saying, Christy knocked it out of the park. Now remember, this is a group of just 25 people. However, as it turns out, of those 78,000 subscribers, one was the CEO of Sport Clips, which is, by the way, one of the fastest growing franchises in the nation. He read that article about what a great job I did at Great Clips. He called his event planner and had her book me for their annual meeting a few months later. This Sport Clips event was the exact opposite of the event in Antioch. It took place in Las Vegas, where I stayed at Caesar's Palace and spoke to the largest audience of my life at that point. That event was in this giant ballroom filled with 1,200 women seated at round tables. It had top-of-the-line equipment, giant screens, and a huge green room backstage for me to get ready before I came out. When I was introduced, they even played intro music to get the crowd excited. Y'all, this event was flashy and intimidating and impressive in every way. But I always want to remember that it didn't start there. It started in Antioch, Tennessee. See, the impressive things in our lives usually don't start off as impressive things. They start out by having heart and excellence in the small things. They start by having faith without the fame. The Bible even says, do not despise these small beginnings. See, when you're faithful with a few things, God can give you many things. But I will tell you, I never would have been ready for the big stages had I not experienced the small stages, the small classrooms, 25 hairstylists, or the family reunions, or the Kentucky County Libraries on a Friday night, or the school events where it was seated for 5,000 people and 2 sad students showed up. Like, y'all, I have story after story after story of the small things where I was faithful. And it was when I was faithful there that I proved that I would be ready for the bigger things. God will give us more opportunities to make an impact in the big things when we demonstrate faithfulness in the small things. He will give us the Las Vegas experiences, but only once we've been excellent in the Antiochs. And at the end of the day, it's not about the size of our audience anyway. It's not about our book sales or our Twitter following. It's about who we become in the journey from stuffy classrooms to big ballroom stages. I promise you this, God cares a lot more about who you're becoming than where you're going. So I don't know what your impact is right now. I don't know how big your platform is. I don't know how big your business is or your Twitter following or your Instagram following. I don't know how many people you have on your email list or if you have any at all. If you've spoken at a speaking event, maybe 2 people show up. But I promise you this, God is preparing you for something more. And I just want to encourage you to be faithful in the small things. Be faithful with the small classrooms, with the small stages, with the unimpressive experiences, because it's through those experiences that you're becoming who you need to be to make more of an impact. The impressive things in life often come from a lot of very unimpressive things. All right, so your action step for this lesson is to put this into practice. Just like I told you, I could tell that my Las Vegas experience was a result of my Antioch experience. I want you to do the same thing. I want you to look back at maybe the last 6 months or year or even 2 to 3 years and identify something that you did, some step of faith that you took or some action that you took that led to something you're getting to do today. Maybe at the time, it didn't seem impressive at all, but today, you can directly point back and see opportunities that you have and doors that are opening because you were faithful back then. And I hope as you identify whatever that moment was for you, that you use that to fuel you to continue to do that. I'll promise you, anytime I'm doing something today that feels unimpressive or feels silly or small, I remember that lesson I learned so early on. Be faithful in the small things. When you're faithful in the small things, God can give you more and bigger things. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you want to find out more about joining my online training and coaching group, the Business Boutique Academy, where you can get more encouragement and training lessons just like the one you just watched, well, you can click the link below to join our waitlist and find out when we open next.